Paul, from your experience and all of your knowledge and time in the industry, how would you say someone should select an architect if they're looking to design and build a new home?
I think you should speak to a few architects, because there's a difference between the way people work. I think you need to find someone that you feel comfortable to work with, because unfortunately it's at least a 3-year process. By the time you commission an architect, design it, get all the working drawings done, select a builder, and then work on site, build the projects on site, you spend a lot of time with the architect. You become pretty close, and you need to, some of the information you're giving out is quite personal, how you're going to live in the house. So it's different to other relationships with a builder or to other professionals. So I think you need to speak to a few, and just to try and find how they work, who's going to do the work, how big is the firm, are you going to be, am I going to be handed down to a youngster, or who's my point of contact? Are you my point of contact? And who will be the team, who will be working on it? And I think selecting a builder is a bit the same. You want to find someone who's the supervisor. Is it a big firm and I'm just dealing with, one of the people in the firm, or am I dealing with the principal? In my firm, it's a very small firm. We'll work together, but I'm the point of contact. I'm the designer. That's why I have chosen to work as a small firm, because I like working with people. I like that process. I want to be involved all the way. So if you come and work with me, then I am your point of contact. I will be the person doing the design. I'll be one of the people doing the drawing, and I'll be the person looking after the job on site.
So that's some pretty good advice, to meet with a few architects to see or get a better understanding of how you'll work together and what they can do for you. But let's say you do meet with a few more architects. What should someone look for when they meet with them?
I think you probably need to be familiar with their work. So either having seen some of it before, or have that architect show you some work, and it may be in a book or some pictures, or they may give you some projects to go and have a look at. You may go and look at a project together. I'll often take a client out to a past project, just to see the project, and is this, in terms of like stylistically, is that what you're looking for? I think you need to ask what the process is, how that architect works, what the process they go through, and what your involvement. You might want to know what your involvement will be. Some people want to be heavily involved, some people don't. So that's you need to understand that, between how that will work between you and the architect, what the channels of communication will be, how often will you meet, what information do you need from me. I think they're the kind of things that you need to know, but you probably, at the end of the day, you want to feel comfortable working with this person, because it's a close relationship, and I think that's the main thing, and liking their work.
So that's great, Paul, but I'm just imagining myself in that situation, and I've met with 3 architects, and I like them all. They've all come with a good offer, and some might be a bit more flamboyant and flashy and have these cool designs, and there might be others which aren't as sort of flashy, but they seem to do really solid detailed work. What do you look for? How do you actually choose an architect if you're sitting in the client's seat?
So I'll answer that as if I weren't an architect, but I know what I know. So if I were going to select an architect, the things that I would be looking for: who is doing the work? Are you doing the work, or is it you giving it to a graduate in the office? Are you a big office with lots of work? What is your current availability? How much work do you take on? Have you got 30 jobs on and I'm just one of them, or do you do 2 or 3 jobs at a time? I would prefer that. I would probably speak to some builders that they've worked with, because people don't think of that, but the builders have to work closely with the architects. They know the good ones. So I would be looking at your level of documentation, what level of drawings, what level of information you're giving the builders. I think that's very important.
And so how does someone judge that? If I walked into an architect's office, how would I know that they're giving the right level of detail?
I think you can ask to have a look at some of their drawings, and maybe, as I say, speak to some of the builders. But so I would be looking at your availability, who's doing the work, and just personality. It's like buying anything else, buying a car, buying a house. What's your feel for that person?
And then so if I did say find an architect where there's not graduates doing the work, and I know who's going to be actually designing, I know that they only take on a handful of projects each year, that's great. What are some of the red flags that you might come across if you're talking to an architect or a designer or someone like that?
I think it would be just how much work they take on.
Okay.
Are you just going to be one of 30 projects kind of thing, or one of 3? I think you'd get a sense. Speaking to the architect, how genuine they are. And if someone says, "Look, I'm busy, but I could at the moment, but I could do it in 3 months' time," that could be a good sign that look, I only take on a certain amount of work. I'd like to do your job, but I can't do it at the moment. I think that could be a good sign, rather than somebody just wanting to take on everything that comes through the door and maybe not give it their full attention.
All right, great. So I've noticed all the red flags. I've looked in the architect's office, and I've seen they do a lot of meticulous drawings. So I've chosen my architect, and there's a couple that I unfortunately have to reject. So what's the best way to do this? How do I
think it's like anything else. It's like being a builder or a salesman of any kind. You can't win every project. You're not going to get on with every client. And even from my point of view, there's some clients I meet that I don't think that's going to work. So I'm selecting you as much as you're selecting me. But if someone rings me and says, "Look, thank you for your time. I've met 3 architects. I'm going to go with someone else," I'm not offended. I can't do every project, and it's their choice. So I'm grateful that they at least ring and let me know.
That's all great. But now I'm interested, Paul, at Paul Hofman Architects. Who do you like working with? Who's your ideal client?
That's a really good question. I think someone that's I guess enlightened, someone that's interested in architecture, that is interested in doing some architecture, not just a building, right? Interested in, and then we're on the same page, interested in the things that I'm interested in, which are things like passive solar design, nice materials. So I get a sense as well of the clients, but I think the main thing is just being interested in architecture, and someone that's going to listen to me as much as I'm going to listen to them.
And so when you say listen to me as much as listen to them, have you ever had any bad experiences? Not that we have to name names, but has there been any challenging projects?
Most of my clients that have selected me I've got on very well with. I don't have too many bad experiences. I think that sorts itself out in that initial meeting in itself. But I guess a client that I wouldn't like is someone that comes to me and they've got very, very specific ideas, and when I try and work around that, they go, no, I want it my way. And they go, well, it's not working because of this good reason. And they go, no, I want it my way. They probably don't need me. They don't need an architect. They could find a draftsman or a builder to build that project. So I want to work together. I want to, this is their house. They've obviously got good ideas, but I'm the professional architect. I had one client that we had this discussion, and he was a surgeon. He goes, I'm the surgeon. You let me do the surgery. You're not going to do the surgery. I'll let you do the architecture. I'm not going to do the architecture. It's that attitude that I want.